At the very outset, I would like to congratulate Dr. Ananta Ashutosh Trivedi ji for this outstanding endeavor which he has initiated for the people of India at the hour of crisis when we are all locked down and going through a very difficult time, and how all of us, at least our fraternity, could be engaged in discussing various issues pertaining to heritage, archaeology, culture. Of course, we belong to a fraternity which are very sensible in nature, and sensitivity is a part of our life, and we are very emotional people and very aesthetic people as well. मैं सुन रहा था उस दिन संजीव भाई को, वो किस तरह से अपने आर्टिफैक्ट के माध्यम से अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड वो एक एम्बेसडर तैयार कर रहे हैं ताकि वो आर्टिफैक्ट जहाँ भी प्रदर्शित हो रहा है और दिखाई दे रहा है, it is representing our country, and he has been doing a wonderful job in National Museum. We are all proud of him. Many outstanding publications National Museum has brought out under his stewardship. Hearty congratulations to Sanjeev. And without wasting any time, I would like to introduce the topic on which I'll be talking about. Vidya Chaudhary ji, namaste. The topic is, carefully suniye, heritage, cultural collective memory and identity, an Indian perspective. भारतीय दृष्टिकोण से हमारे ये जो धरोहर है और कल्चरल कलेक्टिव मेमोरी जो है वो किस तरह से हम देखें, और अगर कल्चरल हेरिटेज के मैनेजमेंट के दृष्टि से और इकोनॉमिकली इसको एक टूरिज्म एंड अदर एस्पेक्ट से किस तरह से अगर हम यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं, then only our endeavor of studying and doing research and giving some result to the government or the respective state government, whereby our government can augment revenue from it. Otherwise ये एक रिसर्च का विषय ही रह जाता, otherwise it becomes only a topic of discussion, deliberation, and it is an endless dialogue which goes on. So my focus will be on heritage, culture, and especially about Indian culture, Indian heritage, and how across the globe we have seen our country is a country of various diversity, a country of various ethnicity, a country of various thought process, and how various layers of cultures are seen in different perspective through the ages, and how we see India, our own country, which is a composite culture of its own. Despite all these composite natures, it has not lost its roots. The roots are still with us, what it ought to be in the beginning of the civilization. Say for example, the Gayatri mantra that we chant, ये 10वें मंडल का 16.3 श्लोक में जो वर्णित है, फिर बाद में उपनिषद में यह आता है, मैं वहीं से अपने वक्तव्य को शुरू करना चाहता हूँ, और जो विभिन्न कन्फ्यूज़न है और मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग है उसको दूर करना भी चाहता हूँ। जैसे आप जानते हैं, तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि ओं भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यम। And who is this identity of this goddess? ये goddess कौन है? ये goddess है, God है, कौन है? फॉर योर काइंड इन्फॉर्मेशन मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ, ये जो गायत्री मंत्र जिसको इन्वोक किया जाता है, द मंत्र विच इज चांटेड एंड इन्वोक्ड is not to any divinity. Believe me, trust me. This is what is described in the scriptures. It is the supreme consciousness to which we are addressing, invoking. And this is what we, the people, are. And that is why we are a global citizen. And we talk, Namaste, Usha madam, and we talk a language which is understandable to the entire world. We represent the entire world because we feel the entire world is here within us. And we are invoking that supreme consciousness. And that supreme consciousness is the main objective of our life. Out of the 4 important aspects of life, the ultimate aim is to, the bottom line is to reach to that level of consciousness. And this is the punchline of Indian culture and civilization. So to understand everything in different perspective, I would like to draw your attention with the first topic, that is memory. Generally, memory means it's just a stored ideas or informations. जैसे आज कंप्यूटर में हम एक मेमोरी कार्ड के रूप में देखते हैं, हमारे ब्रेन में भी एक मेमोरी कार्ड है. And for your kind information, I am again telling you, this memory card is very, very, I mean, accurately documenting everything in the brain. And these memories cannot be preserved. They can only be expressed through stories, oral stories. This can be expressed through languages. This can be expressed through writings. This can be expressed through symbols. And this is what is all about when we talk about the memory. And now this memory is not only a memory, this is a collective memory. Now, what do you understand by collective memory? Collective memory is our consciously understood or experienced or realized, or the things that happened in the past had stored. Now, when you talk about the cultural collective memories, then comes the cultural element in it. So basically, we are a cultural being, and being a cultural human species, whatever memory has been there, they are slowly transmitted from, as I told, either they are in the form of stories, either they are in the form of writings, or they are in the form of symbols, and these are transmitted from generation to generation. And that is why when we go back to the ancient time, we have an exclusive kind of historical documentation. So to study the historical perspective or the historiography of Indian historical writings, you have to understand 2 things. One is the smriti, that is memory and memorizing, and the other one is shruti. And this is the way we have stored our knowledges. And now when we want to unravel those knowledges, those memories and all that, we have to go back to those oral stories, those to mythologies, those historical documents found from the excavations. There are plethora of items and plethora of things which otherwise we call, since it has inherited from our ancestors through ages, we call them inherited things or the heritage. And that is why this heritage is what a long course of accumulated ideas and memories passed on from generation to generation. And now these memories are, as I told you, that these memories are such thing which cannot be preserved. They can only be documented, and they can only be found in the forms of myths and other writings, then performances, activities, all these things. And now when we call it tradition, customs and all these things, the invisible part of the culture, we call the intangible element of the culture, or the intangible culture or cultural heritage. And the one which are visible in nature or tangible in nature are the built heritages like the temples, the mosques, the churches, the synagogues, the buildings. I mean, all kinds of constructed, produced things, be it an artifact, be it a temple, be it an edifice, or be it a tank or a place or whatever it is, they are in the form of all tangible things which you can touch them, feel them and elaborate them. But the invisible part are the intangible things. So both the tangible and intangible are the cultural heritage, which are a very significant part of the composite culture that we when we call composite, because in India is a huge geographical, it has a huge geographical area, and each of the geographical area has a different kind of climatic condition, different kinds of flora and fauna. So ultimately this human being is a product of this environment. So when we talk about the environment, it is the environment which compels them to produce those tangible and intangible things, and his experiences which mandates them to have a society. And each of the cultural entities are broadly expressed, and they are broadly expressed in through four principal activities. So what are those four principal activities? That is the social, the intellectual, the emotional and aesthetic, and the spiritual. So what are the things which comes under social? And social things are your family, society, then you have the government, state and all these things. Then the most important thing is the intellectual part. You must be wondering what intellectual part is. Intellectual part is nothing but the scientific advances, scientific knowledges, the political formations, the political ideas, and the legal system and all these things. So, and the most important thing which is directly connected with our subject is the emotional and aesthetics part of it. So the emotional and aesthetic part involves all artistic activities, aesthetic productions, and the last but not the least are the spiritual achievement, which ultimately give the realizations, and the realization give the vigor and velocity of life. And now when we have these cultural things are expressed in through four different things, the ultimate core is that these are in the form of our memories, and these memories are expressed in different things. As I told, the oral myths and stories and all that.